And we are back. Welcome back to Penguin Pete Plays Book of Hours by Weather Factory. And this is once again without the House of Light extension. We're just conquering Hush House here. Up until now, parts 1 through 4 have been a playthrough and kind of a tutorial on exactly how to do stuff. But as you might see by now, I've kind of skipped the play-by-play and skipped a bit ahead in order to get to where the part of the house is more open here, so that so you can just see how the mid-game goes. We'll just have some general tips and from here on out, not really a straight playthrough. Since we last came here, these rooms over here where the garden is and stuff, that was the last we were opening. We were just getting into the stairwell. Now we've opened these 3 rooms especially. Are the key central part. This will do. They all have bookshelves. When you open them up, they all have brand new volumes in them, be cataloged. And I turned it into my main book sorting area. These are books to read. I have them kind of organized where like the 4s and 6s are on this end, the 8s and 10s are over here on this end, and the even higher numbers up here. But when I'm done reading books, I'm putting them labeled on the shelf depending on what kind of memory I get from them. And so you can see here I have each bookshelf labeled. That one's pattern, the 2 knock memory. Now what happens when I get more than, enough books to fit on this, since pattern's a very common memory to get from books? Why, it's easy. I'll just stash the rest somewhere else, and these will be the only ones I care about. As long as I have one book that gives me a memory and maybe one from each discipline for visitors to browse, I'm a pretty happy camper. So anyway, and we got some of this here. This is an important area, though. It's also the location of 3 key writing desks right here. This one, we've got this one over here, the Vagabond desk, and these 3 reading desks. Very useful. You also get the gramophone player, phonograph. There are a few records in the game to play. You get a bed over here. I've moved into this one. You get another bed over here. And let's see here. Down here is the music room. These instruments, for instance, have birdsong on them, so you can use them to upgrade soul skills in that department. And so all these have their own little musical accompaniment. Cute room, but really nothing else in there. Second section to pay attention to is the kitchen down here. And when we first open this one, we get that knife out of here, which is a very, very handy tool. I always keep the knife over here in my little tool depository. But having 2 nectar and a grail and an edge and a winter on just one instrument is something that I can use quite often, both for reading books and for equipping guests to open rooms. And then this, again, like I say, you get wine bottles all over the place. I don't even bother storing these anymore when it's too crowded. And over here you open up the pantry, which is more food. A lot more food, a few more beverages, and namely just stuff to feed guests. So you've got that. From here, over here is the servants' quarters, and from here it gets really dried out. But there's some other interesting tasty rooms to open over here. And one other area to direct your attention to is the first big tower. These are actually pretty important rooms. The film projector's alright. This run-through seems to be an anomaly because I haven't found any film reels by now, but when you do find film reels, they go to the projector. It works just like a writing desk. You put it in here, you read it, blah, blah. So, this is like a little art and hobby room, but this shelf is just loaded with all kinds of goodies. Up here is a dispensary, which is, again, loaded with all kinds of goodies up here, but I'm also reserving these spaces now for bookshelves, for more memory recall when I need it. And we'll have some very good memories later on. When you get a Newman memory out of books, those are like 5 each of 3 aspects. And a persistent memory that doesn't just expire at the end of the day. So that's very valuable. Also a bed up here, but here's another reading desk. This is an important one. So that's the reading desk, and then along with everything else, you gotta wonder what kind of library is this. It has its own mad scientist laboratory here. The necropsy table, complete with stuff like a heart and a jar. And then right across the stairway from that, you get over here, and there's an alchemy set over here. complete with alchemy glassware, and yet another shelf full of interesting doodads. Now, when I move into these rooms, and especially anything to do with bookshelves, I tend to strip everything else out of the way. I just want stuff out of the way. I don't care where it goes. And that is Oriflame's auction. Alright, so we're going to try to open up a few rooms here. As you can see, I've also definitely dusted up my skills quite a bit from cracking all these books. So really, I decided to skip ahead because, you know, the same thing's going to be done over and over again. I go to hire an assistant, they open a room, I go catalog the books, blah, 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 over and over again. So there's grind here, but we're going to try to open some stuff up today. What do I have to work with? I've got this. I've got that. It's almost nightfall. So, let's just move it along. And, oh yeah, one more important thing down here is the foundry. That has its own little founding forging area. There's morning. Alright. So yeah, that's the foundry, and it's going to take stuff like metal and fuel. You can see fuel there. You can see this flash when it's metal. This is Gervanite. We found that little secret cubby earlier. But it has 4 knock. It's very good for using knock recipes. And I just found a couple of boxes. Let's open them and see what we got. Okay, we have storm today. 4 herd or 4 sky. That could be useful. Oh my god! I got it! I got the yellowing newspaper. Oh, this is really good. This makes a persistent memory, and you can reuse it whenever you want to. Okay, whenever you get the yellowing newspaper to run, it's like you just won a lottery ticket of the day. But I keep this someplace significant, like I say, on the nightstand of the bed. Alright, let me see the storm. Heart or sky is useful to open something. At a certain point, when you get enough rooms opened up in the house, it becomes like you don't even need to worry about what kind of talent you're going to get next, because you're sure to have a room that needs opening somewhere. Yeah, look at that. I don't think the storm is going to help us with any of the openings today. Wow. Alright. Grail. Heart. I could get into the servants' quarters with heart. Is that really... That's barely even worth the trouble right now. I'm not even... Yeah. Okay, since we have... Let's just go ahead and get at least the Reverend. And he does not work for free. Gotta pay him the cash. Cross his palm with silver. Because he already starts out at 2 lantern, and I just gave him 4 lantern. So I can equip him with, say, this object, and that will give him 5 lantern. And alright, so we're going to start opening the chapel area up in here. There's a large church, and then there's several rooms that each have altars, which are like crafting workstations again. Alright, what do we got here? Couple more candles, of course. Reserved for latecomers, non-believers, and the pensive. Oh boy. Of course, non-believers drop by church just to, let God know, hey, no hard feelings. Anyway, yeah, but you can see this big church over here. That only takes 6 lantern or 6 heart to open. Hey, 6 heart. I've got 4 heart right over here. Here. Let's summon. And this is Kiln. She has 1 heart already. I'll put her at 5. And then just talk to her about, say, health, and that'll put her at 6. That's all we need is 6 to get in there. So you can see things kind of come together when you get the building opened up a little bit. Especially, like I say, when you get the core bookshelf area opened up and all these resources around here, it really picks up speed. The game starts to feel more like you know what you're doing. There's some stuff in here to find. Alright, and it's morning. We have some books to catalog. We've got a big old organ to play here. And then we've got another altar over here. So you got that. This is also an altar. And each of these takes some magic discipline. Also got these fantastic stained glass windows up here. This chapel is really a showcase. More candles. There's candle spread everywhere. It sprays the place, doesn't burn down. Alright. Oh yeah, I was also opening my packages. Snow today. Oh, it is the tail end of winter, so we're getting one last snow, it looks like. Let's crack these books. Okay, we got another one of these Gerbanites. That's nice. Like I said, that's useful for crafting, but we're not going to use that until closer to the end of the game. No, not that. Here, this. Does this tool give forge? Do I already have a triangle in my tool bin that gives forge? No. Does this give forge? Forge, no. That doesn't. That gives scale. That gives moth. That gives forge. That gives forge and nectar. And this gives lantern and moth. All this gives is forge. I'll just set this down here anyway. Try to keep the stuff together as much as possible. But you get duplicates of stuff you don't even need. Now we're getting over here, we're going to need 9 heart, 9 lantern, or 9 moon, or 9 winter. So, snow, huh? Yeah, oh well, winter. We're going to get somewhere of the winter, perhaps. This is a 10. So we'll put it over here. with the unread 10s. There. That is also 10. Are these 8s down here? Are these? These are 10s too. 10. And a 14. That'll just park that way up here. 14 and higher, kind of going up there. Alright. Yellowing newspaper. Why am I so thrilled about this? Because you can get a persistent memory out of that. The only thing is with this is that you can't read the newspaper at a desk, which is bizarre. You have to do it with your own examination. There we go. And you read that, you can get a called scrap, which is a persistent memory. 2 knock, 2 moth, and 2 rose. Those are three disciplines that are kind of hard to come by. Plus, it's an omen, so it'll fit in additional slots on certain workstations. Anyway, and you keep that newspaper handy. You can just generate a new occult scrap whenever you want to, and it is persistent. It'll just stay there until you need it. So yeah, that's exciting. Normally, you have to get it from pure luck from one of the loot boxes. If you don't get it, then that's why I said beachcombing is very important. You just keep going here to the beach and just keep searching for stuff. You'll accumulate all kinds of little doodads that are good for crafting and stuff. So, let's see here. What else we got? Winter opening up stuff. 7, 8, 9. Winter, okay. We'll go to get this winter dude. He does work free. However, I'm going to need another whist, so I'm going to try to refresh this one. Talking about the snow. Let's take advantage of the weather while it lasts, he says. There we are. Now I can infuse him with whist, and he'll be up to 7. And that takes 7 right there. Here we go. This is just another bedroom. I don't even think there's anything in here. I mean, there's stuff. There's another drink. And yeah, this is yet another bed. This one takes the pale guest bed, I guess. Alright. This is actually a cute little room. It only takes 3 of an aspect to open. And it's got your, basically like a special retreat for the librarian, but it's got a few interesting items in it. I guess we can get... You know what? Do I have time to even... Here, yeah, I do. Yeah, I just beat nightfall. I didn't even look at the clock. Alright. It certainly is a day's work over at Hush House, huh? Alright. So you can see the persistent memory survives dawn. It's fine. And today's a foggy day with high knock. That's interesting. Alright, I've got a bunch more books. There's also just some bric-a-brac here. I've never figured out what the heck some of this stuff is for. A bunch of plants over here. Another book. Why is that one so isolated? You know, whenever a book's off by itself, you gotta wonder what it's up to. Oh, finally, okay. I've been looking for a level 4 nectar. So far, the only nectar book I've even found is like this one up here. It's level 8. That's a 4 also. Oh, very good. 4, 4. That's a 6. And a 6 in a language I don't have yet, Sabazine. Gotta wait for somebody to tutor me on it. That's a 14, and that's an 8, also in Kissimmee language. Kissimmee, I guess. Alright. Yeah, heavens. This is an 8 over here. Yeah, 8s. Alright. Now, once again, the tutorial nature of this interface here, you know, you don't always know what does all this gimcrack and stuff do. But you can just right-click something when you have a workstation open. And here's something else you could do. You can just shift on a laptop anyway. Hold down shift and a right-click. And just click on that and see where it goes. There, it went somewhere. Okay. So it can go into the dispensary table, and now you know that this table can use that object. So yeah, whenever you don't know where something goes, just right-click and shift. Sometimes you'll find new workstations that way. You know, just serendipity. There we are. Oh yeah, that's right. You can move into these beds. I completely forgot you could do that. Alright. I've really done enough tutorial type stuff. Type info. You should be able to have grasped the game this far. Having come as far as I have here. And this is the mid-game. This is also the point where you can start crafting stuff. I'll get to that in a little bit. See, right here I've got like 3 heart on this. Now all you have to do is find a compatible workstation. For instance, this drum, it takes heart. So I can drop a heart card in here, any heart-related skill. Heart, there's one. Alright. And you see when it jingles like that, it'll open the craftable recipes there, and you discovered that. You don't even have to craft that right now. It'll be available whenever you want it now. And you can see there's 10 influence and 15 influence items that are undiscovered. So you already know there's only 2 colors, 2 influences to try these on. So you know that there's 1 heart and 1 sky each here for the 10s and 15s. So yeah, if you do that, you can craft an object. This is a bomb. And you can just, I'm going to do this one time just to show, yes, you can craft objects using just soul fragments and skills. And there's really not much of a relation between what you do, what you're doing at what workstation. Like the drum can craft bomb. This piano can craft a snow winter drink. This forge can craft, moon sign. It's crazy. It's random. Sometimes there's a connection between what you're crafting, what you're doing, and not, and sometimes there's not. But you just got to go with it. Anyway, so that's bomb. It's not even drinkable. It's just a beverage, or liquid rather. I'm gonna stick it. Oh, you can't even. Here, I'm just gonna set it there for the time being. You know what? I should probably set it over here in the alchemy lab. Does that go into the alchemy table? No. Oh well. Anyway, this is an 8, level 8 book. And again. And, ooh, this one's diseased right there. So I'm going to quarantine that. This one's a 6, a different language. Alright. Where's my quarantine books? I keep them here next to the skull. So this one has a curse on it that I'm going to have to remove with whatever practical magic I can get. Alright, so you have an idea of the mid-game. And from here on out, we're going to be opening up the rest of this up here. And we come to a bottleneck where you have a bridge here, and the basement starts getting really hard going. And from here, it takes a lot more influence to start opening up these rooms over here. Still in black, and a whole cave system down here. There's still a lot to discover. So I'll see if I come back to the series when I get most of the house opened up. We can kind of wrap this one up. Thank you for watching Penguin Pete Plays Book of Hours from Weather Factory without the House of Light extension pack, but I'm probably doing that next. I just want to get through this game a few times, get used to the content it has now before I go opening even more. But awesome game, maybe not for everybody, but definitely for the people who like solving puzzles, solving mysteries. It's kind of like that. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.